And I'm Faye.
And today we're going to be talking about
The Girl Who Never Was by Skylar Dorset.
Yes, it
is. Okay, today is my birthday. In Selkie's family, you don't celebrate birthdays, you don't talk about birthdays, and you never, ever reveal your birth date until now. The instant Selkie blurts out the truth to Ben in the middle of Boston Common, her whole world shatters. Because her life has been nothing but a lie, an elaborate enchantment meant to conceal the truth. Selkie is a half-fairy princess, and her mother wants her dead.
Look at the pretty cover.
And it's so pretty.
Such a pretty cover.
Anywho,
so what were your initial thoughts?
I liked it.
My line, usually. I liked it too. I enjoyed it.
It was quick, like a quick read.
Yes.
And there wasn't anything amazing about it, but it was a good read, and I got emotional, and I quite liked Ben, and I liked the magic and how it all came together, and all the different ways, like the goblins were like seductive by people, and the wizards, and I liked the whole world. I liked it was good.
I thought the world building was very interesting. I thought it had a lot of potential.
I think it has, like, it's not as good as Alice in Wonderland, because when it's facing nothing ever will be, because I love that. I love that book. But I like the way that, it's very like, what the is going on? Crazy things. And like, there are certain similarities as well to certain things. Like, there's like the weird pipe smoke that's mentioned, and I was like, interesting. But yeah, and I really enjoyed it. It was good. Sorry, you speak.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. Like you, I wasn't like blown away by it. It's not going to be like one of my top 10 books, but it was definitely a quick read. It was very engaging. I wanted to know what was going to happen next. I liked the characters. I didn't think that there were necessarily any particularly original ideas. It was almost like a coming together of lots of other ideas. It stuck pretty kind of firmly in like fairy mythology anyway.
One thing that really irritated me towards the end, and it's a very small thing, but it's the fact that it's just like, well, it could have been an hour, it could have been a minute, or it could have been a second, or it could have been an hour, who knows? It could have been a couple of days, it could have been, I get it, okay? Time, you have no concept of time. You don't need to tell me every paragraph that you don't know what the time is. I'm just like...
It was quite repetitive, although I thought it was quite clever how that then the main character, she started using that at the end, which kind of shows how she's really kind of absorbed into this.
Like, I get like her mentioning it once,
but
when
every
it starts
other,
happening.
every other character already mentioned it.
I was just like, but I know it's fine that she mentioned it. It was just that she then kept mentioning it and mentioning it and mentioning it after she mentioned it once, and I'm like, I get it. Okay, you don't know what time it is. You don't know how long it's been since you last saw so-and-so, or since you last had dinner. Just move the story on a little bit.
I think as well, if you're somebody that's interested in books with fairies, you already know about the Seelie and the Unseelie court, and that people that go there who are kind of... how the time is kind of played out. I suppose it's it's something that would be introduced to somebody that perhaps hasn't read much fairy mythology or books based on fairies.
So yeah, what about characters? Who's your favourite?
I like Ben, and actually he's the character that I'm most interested in, and the way that the book was left, that's really got me intrigued, and I really do want to read the next one. I think it's difficult because I don't think we really got to know many of the other characters apart from the main character and Ben, who's kind of the love interest. I would have liked to know a little bit more about the aunts. The aunts are not what they seem initially, and I would have liked it to be explored a little bit more, that side of her kind of family tree.
Yeah. I also think if you had aunts that were called True and Virtue, you wouldn't go, something weird's going on here. Yeah, that's just a weird thing for me, I guess.
Old-fashioned names, I suppose.
I actually quite liked Kelsey. I didn't think I would, and she doesn't really come into it that much, but I feel like if you're going to be like, she was like a really loyal friend, and I was like, that's cute. But I also was just wondering, like, but what are you? I couldn't work out.
I couldn't believe that she was just completely normal. No. And there is a bit in the book where she kind of comes into her own. As you say, we haven't really met her much before then. Yeah. I have read the prequel novella, so I'd already got to know the character a little bit more, so it wasn't kind of out of left field as much as if you hadn't read the prequel, which, by the way, the time frame for the prequel doesn't quite work with the main book. But anyway.
Different review.
But at the same time, it's quite nice to have that normal character. You know, she's not chosen, she's not special, she's just a really good friend.
Yeah.
And it's quite nice to see that perspective. And kind of, that's every woman.
Yeah, I quite liked her as well. And then Ben, I really want to know what happens with his story. I need to know now, like right now. So can I just have the book, please?
And handily, the sequel comes out
in like 2 months.
2 months. Yeah, even less than that. So
we're good. We're golden. We sorted this out proper well.
Right.
So yeah, what else do we normally talk about? The writing style.
The writing style. I thought it was just very easy to read.
Nothing amazing. Nothing like.
There was nothing too complicated. So I enjoyed the world building, but it wasn't particularly. So it wasn't particularly groundbreaking. It kind of covered old ground, but in a way that explained it if you haven't really read much fantasy or fairy tales.
I think it works. I find what really works in all of these stories is when the main character doesn't know what's going on either. And she's just like, but you sort of know more than she does sometimes because like you know the folklore. So she's like, I have no idea what's happening, and I'm like, I do. Yeah, I was going to say something else then, and it kind of went like flip into the sky, which is a bit sad.
It'll come back.
I'm hoping so. It will just do a circuit around the room and then pop back into my head again.
I thought that the resolutions were perhaps a little bit simple.
Yeah.
Like it's not like an epic fantasy book. You know, it's quite clever. You know, it's cleverly done. But I just felt like it was a little bit too simple to rectify. Came together in a bit too cleanly.
But then she was also quite powerful.
They always are.
Yeah. I don't understand how most of the fairies, they can like enchant things and they can change things, but her only power is that she can name things. Like it's like obviously she hasn't been brought up to like know her power, but it seemed like she was completely powerless other than this one power, and she didn't even know how to use it. And like, but her mother could do all sorts of things, and like, but they're still born of the same cloth.
Yeah.
So that seemed a bit weird for me. It was like, how could her mum make the room temperature colder, but she couldn't even do it herself, like, sort of thing.
And actually, her other power that she seemed to have to start wasn't her power. It was actually the enchantment protecting her. So her most interesting
power
wasn't even hers.
Yeah, so that was a bit weird. But I'm hoping maybe she'll get into her own. Maybe it's because she wasn't brought up to be taught how to do things. I don't know. It seemed a bit simple.
The whole thing about never trust a fairy, and there was this whole thing about her lying, and it's like, I thought fairies couldn't lie. They can kind of...
But she's only half.
I know, but there was some comment with the mother, like, congratulating her on being able to lie, like, oh, you're a real fairy, and it's like, well, fairies can't lie, but they weren't quite tricksy. They weren't tricksy enough for me. They were a little bit too face value. I don't know.
Yeah. But then like half the
twist or
like half the enchantment. It says at the beginning because she asked Ben what he thinks or something, and he's like, I can't lie to you because of the enchantment, not because he's a fairy. So I just think in this world that isn't part of the law. Yeah. Fairies can lie, which is weird. So,
and then there was a big setup, which was really interesting, and for me, it came into fruition at the very end of this book, which is fine because I want to read the next book, but it kind of, for me, felt like it was almost...
There was nothing.
It could have been the next. I would have, if we'd had to wait a bit longer, a bit more suspense to kind of see it through, that plot point through. I don't know. I just felt like this is foretold. Oh, and now it has happened.
Yeah, but the whole thing is there's so many different prophecies as
Yeah.
well. But it's a debut, I think, so if there are a few
It was the
pop-ups.
flowers, the flower beds, for me. When he first goes travelling with her, and she falls into the flower bed,
Right.
and they're all grabbing at her. That for me was very.
Oh yeah, and then you
Wonderland-esque.
get saved by the rat or whatever. Yeah.
That was the bit I was like, this is like Alice in Wonderland.
Yes.
And then after that, it was just
And then she's like, and I don't want you to touch me anymore, and they stop.
Hmm.
And she's like, yeah, that kind
Handy.
of happens in Alice in Wonderland too.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, this is a okay read.
Yes.
Fairly addictive.
Yeah.
Page turner. Interesting world building. Interesting world.
Definitely would like to read the sequel.
And yeah, nothing that's gonna stick in your mind probably forever. It's not one of the ones you put straight on your favourite shelf, but one that you really enjoyed reading anyway.
Indeed.
Yeah, so that's how we really sum this up. So that's everything about that book. Next up, we have...
What are we reading next month, Faye?
The Iron Trial by Holly Black and Cathy Clare. So we're looking forward to reading that one.
Yeah, I've got kind of mixed feelings going into it, so we'll see. I've heard some really good things, I've heard some not so good things. Haven't read any Holly Black, but have read obviously lots of Cathy Clare. So I'm interested to see how her style is affected with a writing partnership. So, have you read The Girl Who Never Was?
What did you think? Would you think you want to read it? Can you get your hands on the boy that hid with the hidden name and give it to us? Could you do that for us? Maybe. That'd be cool.
Share a
copy. Yeah, we'll pass around.
Yeah.
Give it back to you when it's done. It's fine. And what about the Iron Trial? Have you read it? Do you have thoughts for our next review? Thoughts on this review?
Want to know about it?
Yeah, talk to us. Tell us all in the comments down below. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.